Hey guys, I figured it was probably the best way to sort of introduce the new place with a pretty big video. It's definitely going to be a long one. I'm not going to go way too in depth with every game that I'm going to be talking about here, but I figured it would be a nice way to sort of welcome in the new place and like sort of make a nice video since I've been away. I've literally just been uh, setting up my new place the entire month, and I'm still not even done. I still have a bunch of stuff all over the place. Yeah, and it's probably going to be like that for a little bit. Either way, this is going to be my top 100 games list of all time. This is more, I'm going to try to be as objective as I can, but I'll be honest, most of this is a subjective list. But I do think that objectively, some of these games can be seen as some of the best that have ever been created. Granted, I also do think that this works within a specific time frame, most likely like garnishing a lot of attention from people my age, ones that grew up playing the Xbox 360, and even some of the older vintage consoles. I kind of was born at the perfect time where the Nintendo console was still extremely popular, so when I was even 5 years old in the year 2000, it was still something that people had and they still played. But there was all these newer consoles coming out at that point. Like I think at that point the PlayStation 1 was out and Sega Genesis was already out. I'm thinking about the Dreamcast. And then eventually the GameCube. I kind of was born, I personally believe like I was born when it came to video games at the perfect time. And I think I was a teenager at the perfect time because I still personally hold the belief that the Xbox 360 is the greatest console of all time. Like, bar none, there are other consoles that have, just maybe just as many strong titles, but I feel like the level of quality, the level of output that was even put out in the first couple of years of the 360 has not been seen at all. Like, maybe you can argue the PS4 had a pretty nice, strong run in the beginning with some really strong titles, like I think God of War the first one came out near that time, and Ghost of Tsushima came out a little bit afterwards, which are games that I'm going to be eventually talking about. But I think that the 360 really had just everything. It had a fantastic console when it wasn't having the red circle of death and the red ring of death, and as time went on, that console just put out some of the greatest games, and a large majority of these are going to be from there. I try to really reflect on every single game I've played. I looked through my entire Xbox achievements list because I have a lot. I have like 200,000 gamer score because I used to play like a fucking no life. And I looked at my Steam list. I looked through just about anything to potentially get every game that I could possibly remember playing. A lot of these definitely are going to be, like I said before, like nostalgia sort of attachments that I've had. So I understand that maybe these might not have the same quality as even some of the newer games now. But I just think that as of right now, these are the games that I think could be seen objectively as at least being part of the top 100. A lot of these, honestly, once it gets past like maybe because some of these are a little bit high, I'd say once it gets into the top 25, maybe even the top 30, a lot of these are interchangeable. And even some that are beyond that can completely be seen as some of the greatest games of all time. So before I get started into that, I want to go through the honorable mentions list because there are a couple here. And I just want to say that it encompasses games that I either played way too long ago and I don't remember enough, and you'll get a perfect example of that as the last one. Um, Other games that I played a little bit, but I didn't get to finish because I probably just didn't have the time. Or they were games that I finished, but I just didn't feel like they deserve to be on the top 100, but they should be games that absolutely should be recognized as some of the better games of its own genre. And I'll start off the list with Nintendogs. So Nintendogs, when I was a kid, an absolutely fun game. You raise your own dog in the DS, and it was addictive. I remember coming back home every day from school, and I would be playing it for hours, making sure that my pets were well taken care of, and not doing as great of a job with my own pet. I'll be honest about that. Uh, Such an odd thing as a kid. And yeah, it was just addictive. They came out with a couple of titles, different dog and breeds within each game. It was a ton of fun. It was so much fun. I really can't recommend it enough if you have a Nintendo DS and you've never played it. It's extremely addictive. It's kind of like a Tamagotchi, but in a more modern sense, modern, which was it's so weird to say that it's not modern anymore. The next game on my list is Deep Rock Galactic. This game is about a bunch of dwarven fucking heroes, man. Just dudes going out there and trying to make a difference in the world. It's a ridiculous game. I think it was one of the funnest multiplayer experiences I've ever had with my friends. I remember we would log in and just go into the bar, drink a bunch, and just say the usual lines, rock and stone to the bone. Oh my god, we were just going insane. We would drink the beers, get tossed, do stupid shit. We were literally doing that for like 30 minutes to an hour, just completely having a ton of fun. But then the gameplay loop is so addictive, so much fun. It felt so expansive, and I really feel like it perfected that gameplay style, first person shooter. It absolutely captured what you want from a game like that, especially a multiplayer sorry, just woke up, first person shooter. There you go. Okay, so absolutely would recommend to check that game out. They also came out with a board game like a couple of years later, maybe like a year later, that I bought, and it was pretty cool. I never played it. I kept it, but it's a really cool piece that I have in my collection. So this one, it's kind of difficult. So this is probably one of the few examples, and I'll say that it's Fortnite. So Fortnite is one of the few examples that I feel like, because the original concept is so diluted over time, I cannot put it on my list because I just don't feel like it ever was a complete game. Now, granted, when I was first playing it, absolutely loved it. I loved the campaign that they had on there. I loved the multiplayer at the time. It was extremely addictive, extremely great. Completely like, now it seems like, oh yeah, like that was just a guaranteed banger, but you don't understand, like at the time, this company was, I think they just came off of making Gears of War, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna double check that. Yeah, had to double check it. Yeah, they were just known for creating Gears of War, and this was a title that was coming out shortly after Gears of War 3. And, no one had any huge expectations. I remember playing the game the first couple of weeks and nobody was on it. Like, it seemed pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. I liked the campaign a lot and I was playing the fuck out of that. And it just kind of blew up after Ninja started playing it, the rest is history. But I feel like for me, like, I think I would still put it in my top 100, and maybe it would even be in like a top 75 slot. But I feel like for me, because it's changed so much, I just can't really say that the original concept can even be captured by anybody. It's kind of a lost game in a sense. And a lot of these other games you could still play in their true form. Even fucking World of Warcraft, the online MMO, you could still play that in its true form. Maybe you could play Fortnite OG, but who the hell wants to do that? That's the thing. It's like, it's kind of just like a lost fragment of a game. And I still think that it should be considered in the top 100 because it's the best-selling game of all time, and it also introduced a lot of shittier multiplayer mechanics, but still the influence is absolutely there. I just think for me it's not in my top 100, but definitely one of the greatest games I've ever played. Absolutely. Another one, and this one is a big one that I never got to really play that much. It's Mario Galaxy. I really want to play this one. I think that at the time I saw my friend play it. He loved it. I saw him beat the entire game, and it looked like a ton of fun. I was just like, okay, I don't really need to play it since I've watched somebody play it. I think it's time for me to get on that for sure. That's just a nice short one. Another one is Bloodbourne. So Bloodbourne, I've played literally every Souls game, like of the original, like the Dark Souls. I always kept, and honestly, this is probably best to mention all the other ones that I touched but I never actually finished, like Life of P and Sekiro, and I think it was just those two, and a lot of the other ones I haven't. Oh, and that mechanic game, I can't remember that one. It's kind of one where you put parts on yourself, whatever. A lot of these Souls-like games, for me, if I didn't fall in love with it, I wasn't gonna complete it. I really liked Bloodborne. I didn't. It wasn't that the difficulty was too much. I think the grind mechanic of having to grind for the stupid healing just put me away. And I get it, some people don't care about that. It's not the biggest deal. For me, it was at the time. I'm basically waiting for them to re-release the game before I can actually play it. So when they do that, you're gonna maybe I'll put out a review and I'll actually finally beat the game. And another big one is Shadow of the Colossus. I played this as a kid a little bit, and then as an adult, I did end up picking it back up. I beat a couple of bosses, and I just think at the time I was more interested in a lot of other things. That's kind of like the case with a lot of these honorable mentions where I played them a little bit, got interested in other things, and I just kind of let it go. And I know that that sounds insane for a video gamer. If I was like in my early 20s, like before I turned 25, I would have just completed it, like no problem. But as you get older, you get a bit more busy. Other things take priority. It just kind of fell to the wayside, even though it's a classic game, and I was loving the gameplay. So one day, absolutely, I'm going to try that out. Another big one is Final Fantasy VII, the original. So I played that game on the Switch, and I wanted to actually play it on the console. I know that it would be such a pain in the ass, um, because I think on the Switch I was able to speed up the time, which was really nice. I basically sold my Switch at one point, so I had the game on there. I got to the point where you start traveling around the island, so I got past that like big first portion, and I was loving it. I don't really know why I stopped playing it. I want to actually one day go through the entire Final Fantasy uh, games, so I want to play all of them. Maybe I'll one day stream that or something. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, so I know I was loving it. I played the remastered. It was awesome. I still haven't played the second version of the remaster, so I gotta get on that for sure because I heard it's fantastic. But yeah, from what I could see, this would probably be a game in my top 50 for sure. Maybe even higher. No doubt about that. Another one. This is a game that I actually beat and I loved. It's one of my favorite fighting games. It's Injustice 2. So I think Injustice 2 for me, I just don't remember it too much, but I remember when I played it, I loved it. So maybe one day I can sort of go and revisit it, but I think it's the sort of perfect culmination of like, an extension of what Mortal Kombat was, but then even like the DC versus Mortal Kombat game that came out a couple of years before. It was kind of like the perfect expansion of that game that I love. I love that game so much. I'm actually surprised I don't have that here, but I guess I'll put that as an honorable mention. That's another one that I would absolutely recommend playing. It's probably not called that. I can't really fully remember the name, but it was a fantastic game. Maybe it's not fantastic anymore. It might be pretty buggy and shit. I don't know. I'm just saying Injustice 2 was kind of the perfect culmination of that game, and it's just a fantastic fighting game. I remember people said like the gameplay itself was just perfection. It was basically like a perfect version of what Mortal Kombat was going for at the time, and also what even Injustice 1 was going for. So I'd absolutely recommend it. Another one that I think I beat and I watched somebody play this, and I also watched gameplay of it on YouTube at the time, probably from PewDiePie or somebody. Heavy Rain. So Heavy Rain, I wish I could remember it more. Like I feel like Heavy Rain is a top 100 game for sure because it crafted like what you want to get from that type of gameplay, which is like now so commonly seen, man. It is so commonly seen across the board with these types of games that came out afterwards. Maybe not as much now, but I mean, it's even influential in the games where there's decision making. It was really the first game to take that on and really platform it to this huge audience. And I know it's become memed to death. I would love to revisit this game and actually see how it holds up, but either way, absolutely should probably be on the top 100, but it just didn't make mine, honestly, because I think every other game that I have on here is better than it. Another one, this is a low-key one. This is one that has gotten more attention as time has gone on because it's kind of like a hidden gem, and it's the Mad Max game that came out on the Xbox One. It's a banger. Open world sandbox type of game with a really intriguing story, fantastic gameplay loop. It should not have been as good as it was, and it ended up blowing my expectations. I think it literally came out during the sort of early release cycle of the Xbox One. So it was just like a banger that no one played. That no one played. Because who the fuck was gonna play Mad Max? I don't even know if Fury Road had came out at that time. Maybe it did, or maybe it didn't. I'm a bit unsure, but it made no sense from a marketability standpoint. It was doomed to fail from the very beginning. But I'm really glad that they made a fantastic game because they knocked it out of the park. It should be in the top 100, but I think there's a couple of games that for me it would be on the cusp for sure. But I think it's too low key and it's I basically give it a lot of credit because it was better than it should have been. And I think when you're looking at top 100 games, that shouldn't really be the case. It should just be like, regardless of expectations, it's just amazing. And that's basically my bar. Midnight Club 1 and 2, I think, are some of the best racing games. I don't remember them too much, so I kind of just wanted to put it here on the honorable mentions, but I absolutely loved the game as a kid. I used to play the fuck out of it on the GameCube. I still remember that cover of the Charger, one of the most iconic covers of a racing car game, to be honest, and it was just a ton of fun. It was so much fun. Even my friend has lately been playing it, and he loves it. Now, this one's a big one. I think that this one, if I had completed, this would have been a top 25, maybe even a top 15, and that's Persona 5. I was loving this game. But dude, I was in like hour 18 and I looked up how much time was left to complete just to complete the game. And it's like minimum was like 69 hours or 72 hours. And I'm like, to complete the game, I have to put 72 hours into this fucking game? This was like a couple of years ago, mind you. And I was like, no, I don't have the time for this. I love this game. I love the loop, and I think I got the idea. So for me, it was like, all right, I'm not gonna get into it. I regret that for sure, because now I have no way to get back my save file. So I kind of would have to restart when I want to play it again. But one day I'm gonna touch back on this game. This is another hidden gem, Mothered, that came out a couple of years ago on the Xbox Series X, probably. Yeah, I think it's been that long. Banger. Absolute banger. Like, again, another game that has no right to be as good as it was. But granted, it's janky as fuck. It's super janky, but the story is really good. Extremely solid story. The gameplay is addictive and fun and silly. Again, it's very janky, but it's just kind of what comes with an indie developer. And it just overall, it just really surprised me. I heard that it was a good game, and I tried it, and I loved it. I loved it. Really sucks that the second one was complete ass. I played that one, and the story was terrible. I thought that it had a decent start, and then it just went into the shit can, and I was like, wow, that really sucks, because I think that they had something special. This is another one that I think I would even put in my top 20. I was fucking loving this game, and it's called Kingdoms of Amalar. It's a banger. This is a game that I know performed extremely terribly when it released, like in terms of sales. It was a huge game that had multiple phases. I think originally it was going to be an MMO or something like that, and it turned into this single player game. And I loved it, man. I got to this point where I was like in the sand portion, and I was going to keep playing, but I don't know what the fuck happened. I just stopped playing, and till this day, I don't really know why. So I'm gonna play it again for sure. I really wish that they would re-release it, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they do one day. Oh, this one I loved, and like I felt that I didn't put enough time into this one. And funnily enough, I put a shit ton of time into it. So Stardew Valley is, I think, the highest rated PC game. A lot of people would probably even consider it to be in the top 10. I think from the gameplay loop, I would consider it maybe for sure a top 100 game, maybe even a top 50. Yeah, I could see it being better than some of these, but I just felt like I didn't put enough time into it. I put like 13 hours. I was absolutely loving it, but I think that there was so much more to the game that I can't really say like, oh yeah, from the time that I put in, that's enough because there's just so much content, there's so much gameplay, and because of that, I can't. I just can't. But it should be on here for sure. Just like Kingdoms of Amalar and some of these other games, it should be on there. The Spyro series on the PS1 are games that I fucking loved as a kid. Like I remember going to my friend's house. booting up the PS1 and playing that literally the whole time while they were taking care of me. I remember even now vaguely those what were those toys with those little ugly little little things? Damn, what the fuck were they called? I'm gonna look it up. Give me 1 second. Furbies, bro. I remember when I was in this room, there was like a fucking wall of Furbies while I would be playing Spyro. Damn, I haven't thought of Furbies in so long. I shit on some of the newer products that come out, but I'm like, we had Furbies. Like, what the fuck? Either way, um, Spyro's a banger. I can't even remember it that much, but I remember loving it as a kid, so I had to include it on this list. Max Payne 3 almost made it. I felt like it especially like the Max Payne series is fantastic. I played all three and I absolutely love them. The gameplay was so good, and I think Max Payne 3 really got like the perfected version of that. And with a really great story, and I think it was one of the send-off titles for the 360 if I'm not mistaken. Absolute banger, would absolutely recommend that series. I just think that some of these other ones edge it out a little bit more. So my last two, this one will be quick. Def Jam for the 360. Absolute banger, one of the best soundtracks at the time. They got licensure, or maybe they didn't, I don't know. It had one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in my entire life, bar none, because it was coming out at the time and it was putting out music that was literally coming out at the time into the game, which is just pretty rare. I mean, I know 2K sometimes does that, but I know it takes a long time for licensure to clear, and at the time I don't think they gave a fuck. I don't know. Banger fighter game. And even with the good story, everything used to have a story back then. And so this is a game that I think would even be in my top five. I just need to replay it. So just know that. Just know that this is a top five game in my heart because I remember playing it as a kid, loving it, but I just don't remember enough of it to be like, okay, this needs to be in my top 100. It really would be. It really would be. But I need to play it again. And that's KOTOR. Um, Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars. Um, Man, did I love this fucking game as a kid. I think I replayed it multiple times, got all the endings. I can look at the gameplay now and be like, yeah, this is a game that like absolutely deserves to be on my top 10, but I just need to play it again. But just know that it clears a lot of games on this list, okay? It absolutely clears. Okay. Finally got done with just the honorable mentions and it's been 20 minutes. All right, hopefully you guys are sticking around. You guys like my Gengar and Hugsy? Yeah, good. Okay. Needed to kill a little bit more time there. Let me get some water and then I'm going to continue because this is a long fucking video. All right. Got my Mega Man cup that I got from Comic-Con a couple years ago. All right. Let's do this. So, starting off 100. This was a game that I played on the 3DS a ton, and it was a shit ton of fun. I think it came out in the mid-2010s, and it's called Shovel Knight. So Shovel Knight, you basically just play as this knight that uses a shovel, and you basically just jump on motherfuckers and kill them. And it was a perfect reimagining of some of the older games that I grew up with, especially like I forgot what that difficult ass game was, but either way, I'm not gonna get into it. Yeah, it's just a perfect reimagining of those games, and I think it was just a game that came out at the time that was a wonderful, surprise. Um, it won a ton of awards and it was one of the most popular games at the time. So I think I remember it very fondly. I remember beating that game and feeling so accomplished because it's a pretty difficult game as it goes on. Not the most difficult, like I've definitely played way more difficult games here, but fairly difficult, like yeah, for sure. So that's my number 100. Number 99 maybe won't be as fondly remembered from a lot of people because of the third game, unfortunately. But Payday 2. Payday 2 was a gem. Again, another sort of indie title. Not really exactly indie, but, because they had made. Well, okay, so from what I know, I can't remember if the developers of the first one made the second one. Either way, I'm not going to claim to act like I know this shit. This is just off the dome for a lot of these, okay? But yeah, Payday 2 was a banger. The multiplayer component was some of the most fun I've had with friends and even random people. That was the thing. Like, I felt like when I used to play with randoms online back then, it was actually a lot of fun and people were cohesive and they used to communicate. Man, I feel like as time went on, like multiplayer for me just didn't encompass that anymore. I would be talking, nobody would be saying a fucking word. And it's like, okay, everybody's literally just on their own. Only until you get to like higher level gameplay do you get that. But even in those instances, there's always somebody that's not talking. It really sucks. I feel like when you don't have outright communication, you're just basically costing yourself the game. This game is fantastic. The customization, the gameplay loop, especially the updates that came out later on, were just great quality of life enhancements to the game, but it didn't feel like it took away the game. Like Fortnite is completely fucking different. Don't let anybody tell you differently. What it was in the beginning was completely different than what it is now. But Payday 2 stayed true to its form. It just added quality of life enhancements that were really great. Cheers. Would absolutely recommend that game over the third one. The third one was a huge disappointment. I thought it was fine even when I played it, but I was like, dude, this shouldn't be fine. Like this should be like a banger. This should be a banger, just like Payday 2. And I get that Payday 2 also didn't release in like the best form, um, but it really made up for it pretty quickly. And Payday 3 just never did. Also, Payday 1's a banger, so if you guys want to play that one, absolutely recommend it. Another big one that I think maybe even I wouldn't say is like really deserves to be here, but I think its influence for me has just been seen across the board, and it's Outlast, the game that came out in the 2010s as well, late 2010s. It's a fantastic horror game. It was a huge YouTube game at the time. Everybody was playing it, and even beyond that, um, it just really sort of perfected. And a lot of the games on this list are sort of perfections, like in my eyes, the perfected form of what was being looked to be created before. Like there was that game that PewDiePie used to play. Um, Damn, I can't remember the name of it, but it was that horror game that basically blew him the fuck up. This was a perfected form of that. Outlast absolutely was a perfected version of that, and it had a great gameplay loop, it had a really great story, and I think the sequels were pretty decent as well. I really feel like as a trilogy, it really stands amongst some of the best horror trilogies out there. Absolutely would recommend it. So this one made it surprisingly so. I just think it's so fantastic, but I need to play it legitimately because I've only actually watched gameplay of this. So this is one of the few. Okay, this is one of the few that made it on here. I just think that it had to make it on here, and it's No More Heroes. So I'd say that the second one is definitely the best one, but the series itself needs to be experienced because it's a fantastic gameplay loop. I'm going to probably use that phrase a lot today. Fantastic gameplay, really fun, hilarious story. I watched somebody play it on YouTube, and I played a little bit of the first one. I have the entire series now ready to play, so I'm gonna get into it when I have the time. But dude, I still have to beat like Silent Hill 2 for the on the PS5, and that shit came out in October of last year. So yeah, that's how far behind I am on games right now. But yeah, No More Heroes 2, I think absolutely deserves to be on here, and it's one of the greatest games of all time for sure. I just need to play it, and I think it would even move way higher once I have like personal skin in the game. The next one, number 97, is Overcooked. This is one of the most fun cuisine like games out there. I I don't even need to go too in depth with this one. What I will say is the rat level is one of the most hilarious things, and I don't understand how they didn't put this level in the second game. You literally don't even need to complete that level. You can leave the food out, and rats start spawning. And if you keep taking food out, they're gonna keep spawning. And one of the funniest moments ever playing a video game was when my friend and I were just literally doing that for like 20 minutes straight. We were laughing our asses off, and yeah, it somehow didn't crash the game either. So, you know, it needs to be played just for that level alone. But it's also a fantastic game in general. Number 96 is going to be Half-Life 2. So I know a lot of people would put this one in their top 25, maybe even in their top 10, maybe even in their top 5. For me, I love the game. It's a fantastic game. The influence on it, it might be one of the most influential games of all time. Thing is that I played it and beat it once, and I loved it, but I cannot say to you that like, oh man, like I would play this game again. I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't. It's kind of dated. Uh, like would I say it's completely dated? No, I wouldn't say it's completely outdated, but it just for me because I've already played it, I don't feel like I need to go through that experience again. And I think a lot of these other games I would play again. Like I would absolutely get back into it and be like, oh, I'm gonna fucking love this game. So this is more of a subjective one. I know that objectively this is a top 10 game. For sure. For sure. For sure. Like it's one of the best selling games, one of the most influential games. It's one of the most incomplete games, unfortunately, because they never made a third. They made Half-Life Alyx, and I saw gameplay of that, and I know people loved it, but uh, it's just an incomplete story. Kind of also another reason why it fucking sucks. So, would absolutely recommend it. One of the best games of all time, for sure. This one is a sort of dark horse, and I know that probably a lot of people don't like this game as much as I do, but number 95 is going to go to Alone in the Dark for the 360. I know that people love the earlier versions of this. I played this game when it came out and I loved it, man. I think I paid the full fucking price and I didn't feel like I underpaid. You know, funnily enough, I think I bought it. I didn't play it for a while and then when I did play it, I loved it. And I can't even tell you if I remember most of this game that much, but I think that is just one of those essential titles that it is jank in certain ways, but it's a very incredibly intriguing story, and the gameplay is fun. And I'll never forget that scene where you're driving through the city and everything is collapsing. It's one of the most fun scenes I've ever had in a video game, for sure. I know that it's crazy to put this game on here, but I do feel like for me personally, I love the game as a kid, and I think it should be experienced by people nowadays. I don't think it's too outdated. It might be. I don't really fully remember. Number 94 is a game that I recently got into, and I wish I got into this game so long ago. It's Diablo. It's basically the Diablo series, but I'm particularly just talking about 3 and 4. I have been playing a little bit of 1, if I'm not mistaken. I think they've recently re-released it on the consoles a couple years ago. I'm gonna basically go through the entire series. I fucking love it. I'm not even gonna pretend and sit here and act like I know what the fuck is going on with the story. I don't give a fuck about the story. The gameplay is fucking addictive. I fucking love it, dude. You get into that game and you could play for 4 hours straight and not even realize 4 hours have passed. Like it's incredibly addictive. This is the perfect example of a gameplay loop. So there you go. I'm actually using it properly. That is excellent. It's perfect. Absolutely. I really want to quickly check to see if I have enough space for this video, so 1 second. In my mind, I was thinking, fuck, if this video goes over an hour and a half, which it's looking like it's gonna be a long fucking video. Yeah, I don't want this shit to cut off in the middle of it. So I'm gonna try to go as quickly as I can. Okay, number 93 is Stubbs the Zombie. This is a game that probably not a lot of people know about nowadays. It's a banger. They recently re-released it on the Xbox, and I was able to play it like I think a year or two ago, and I loved it, man. It's such a goofy game. It's not the longest game. It has great gameplay, a really interesting story, and I think it's a unique game. It's along that genre of that and Destroy All Humans that it had a particular gameplay style that was extremely popular during its time. It hasn't seen as much of a resurgency now. Maybe that gameplay style will come back. I highly doubt it. It's too slow in comparison to some of the games that are coming out now. But I think it just captures like a very unique idea in this sort of like 60s setting with a fantastic art style and one of the most beautiful looking games I've ever played personally. So, would absolutely recommend it. This game should probably be a lot higher. I just don't remember it that often. And I've played the entire fucking series as a kid. So, one day I will play it again. And it's Jack 2. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I put Sly Cooper 2 a lot higher. So when I talk about Sly Cooper, let's, because I feel like I love Jack 2 way more than Sly Cooper 2, but fuck it, whatever. We're gonna keep it this way. So Jack 2, I don't fucking remember this game that much, but I remember the entire series. I remember loving it, and yeah, it was just an incredibly influential game on my childhood. I loved it way more than Ratchet and Clank, um, which is a good series of games. Just not that crazy about them personally. I love Jack way more, way more. I thought it was such a cool looking game. The soundtrack is fantastic. The design of the game is beautiful, like extremely unique. Kind of like Beyond Good and Evil, which I haven't played that much. I played a little bit of that game. I need to play way more of that game because I think that also deserves to be on here. So it's this low mainly because I just don't remember it that much. Like I actually do remember Sly Cooper 2 more, which again is going to come in later, not too far down, although it's kind of crazy where it is. I'm not going to lie, but whatever. Number 91 is Hotline Miami. This game is a banger. Fucking like you're just going nuts to butts, fucking killing everything. It's an incredibly difficult game. I think, yeah, I think it's a pretty. It's not like the most difficult. Like it's kind of this thing where like I've played like some of the hardest games of all fucking time, either because it's like the gameplay itself is shit and that's why it's fucking difficult, or the difficulty itself is just insane. This is one of those games that I think it's just a perfect blend of both, where it's a great game, great gameplay, and the better and the more you play, the more you memorize, the easier the game becomes. So, fantastic game. I played a bit of two. I for some reason did not finish it. Again, it's just one of those instances where I'm like, why did I not finish it? I don't know. I don't know, man. I need to finish that game. Absolutely deserves to be here. Number 90 is Cuphead. One of the most difficult fucking games I've ever played, with the most difficult fucking last boss I've ever had to fucking play in my entire life. Absolutely drove me fucking insane trying to beat that motherfucker. And I had to take a break. I had to take a fucking break for years before I went back into it because I was just traumatized. I couldn't fucking play and I couldn't beat that motherfucker. Finally did. The most elative feeling I've ever had in my entire life. And yeah, it's again a lot of the things that I've said about the other games. The art style is fantastic. The gameplay is fantastic. Story is fine. I don't really remember much of the story, but it's really the difficulty that fucking keeps that game being so addictive, and you just feel like you need to beat it. Definitely one of the better games of the past current generation. This one's a banger. So I loved The Evil Within, number 89. Um, Man, these two games were fucking awesome. I get that there was that a lot of people don't really fully appreciate it, but I really loved this game when it came out. I thought that it was an interesting story, and I think it was just a good introduction for like, because I didn't really grow up playing the Resident Evil franchise, and I know that the director of that game series made this game, made these two games, and I just think it was awesome, man. It was a good introduction to that then brought out the remasters and eventually. Oh, I realized that one thing that I forgot to mention because there hasn't been that much stuff here. So another thing with this list is that there are so many games sometimes part of a series, and for me, the most important thing was just to get the best game of that series. Because if that was the case, man, the top 100 would look way different. I think even the top 25 games would basically take up the entire list, and I just don't really need to do that. I feel like it's best to just capture the best game. I say that now because I'm thinking about Resident Evil 2 remaster, and I'm like, oh, that definitely deserves to be on here. But I loved another Resident Evil game way more than that one, which may seem a little bit obvious now that I'm bringing that up. It's a high game for sure too. You guys will be surprised how high it is. But yeah, it was the precursor to Resident Evil 2, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Was creeped out while playing that game. Yeah, just would absolutely recommend anybody to play it. It Takes Two is a fantastic game. I played this with a girl that I was talking to at the time. We didn't really last too long or anything, but It was just one of those games that like I think you have to play it with someone of a significant other. It really enhances that game by a lot. It really does. It gets you both to communicate. It gets you both to even feel for one another in a deeper way. Um, yeah, I don't think I need to say more. The game speaks for itself. This one might be a little bit of a surprise, but it's a nice, pleasant surprise for me to see it. And it's Hitman 3. So Hitman 3, not the old one, the new one, was a game that surprised the fucking hell out of me. I played the Hitman games and I thought they were fine. I was not crazy about them. The older ones, fucking love them. And the other Hitman game, the one of the older ones is on here. I feel like it's distinguishable enough because it's two separate companies. It's like it's definitely they're not the same game at all. They just have the same character, but they are vastly different games. Hitman 3 was perfect. I feel like it really captured the essence of the first two games and provided levels that were just so much fun. I feel like that was my problem with the first two is that I just didn't want to replay them. But Hitman 3 had such great replayable games, levels, and I love the ending to that game. I really, really do. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that one. This one's a nice throwback. On number 86 is going to be Fear 2. So the Fear series was a game series that came out in the late 2000s. Yeah, late 2000s. I think the last one came out in the 2010s. Fear 3 wasn't that great. I don't remember it being as terrible as people thought, but it moved the gameplay from being this slow, methodical type gameplay to being just a fast-paced shooter. I don't agree that it was the best place for it to go either. Regardless, Fear 2 is it might be a perfect game, man. I think that it got the gameplay of the first one and it perfected it and it had a great story, way more engaging of a story and creepy as fuck, man. That game is a banger. Absolutely would recommend it. So this next one is gonna be a not a surprise to anybody played it for anybody that played it because it is a special game and it's called Spec Ops: The Line. This was a 360 title that came out in the maybe near the end of its life cycle. Not really a talked about game that much, like a largely talked about game. But I have to say, it's probably one of the best stories I've ever played. Easily. Like, I think it really explores PTSD in a way that even fewer, like, films have even been able to do in such an excellent way. I think to work it into the gameplay and work it into the story of how somebody deals with PTSD is a phenomenal choice. And I really am sad that this game didn't get more attention because it really could have been even a contender for Game of the Year at the time. I don't know what other games were coming out at that time. I'm just saying like it's that great of a game because it does everything right. The gameplay is great, the story is great, the graphics are great. Just yeah, just a perfect game for sure. Perfect. I can't even really tell you what I didn't like about that game. So this one's really a subjective choice, okay? This is a game that oh man, I probably put like fucking months into this game. I don't even know. Maybe not that much time, but you, it's definitely a game that nobody fucking knows about, and it's called Kingdom for Kefflings. In this game, you play as a giant trying to help the Kefflings build a kingdom, and it's one of the cutest games I've ever played, and it's one of the most addictive games I've ever played. I still remember building all these kingdoms and taking hours and hours chopping up wood, getting all the necessary materials. It it's a unique game. I know it's crazy to put it even above some of these other games here so far, but I think subjectively I put so much time into it and so much care and love. I don't even really find much to be wrong with the game, and I actually would love to play it again. Maybe one day I will. This is also another sleeper game, but I think when people think about it and people that have played it, it's another kind of game that it's kind of obvious why it's on this list. And it's the game Catherine. So Catherine, interestingly enough, when it came out originally, I think I watched PewDiePie play it. There's going to be a lot of mention of PewDiePie because PewDiePie and a lot of other YouTubers I used to watch all the time just play video games. And I think he played it and he loved it and it looked interesting to me. I didn't play it for years and years and years later until it was remastered. Oh man, it is a fun game, dude. The puzzles, the The story, it's addictive. It's extremely addictive. I think I played that game and finished it in a couple days. I was just fucking running through that game. I loved it. Definitely would highly recommend that game if you haven't played it. So this one I couldn't really specifically choose one game out of the series, so I'm gonna just say the Uncharted series is my number 82. Probably a little bit low for a lot of people as well, because I know people revere the fourth one and the third one, and I think especially the second one. I think the second one would be my favorite personally. I still remember the ending to that one, so pretty cool. It's an extremely fun series. Nathan Drake is one of the most iconic uh, protagonists ever made, and in a lot of ways, yeah, it's just kind of like a big blockbuster movie type of game. I would love to see them remake the series with the graphics now because I think it would look fantastic. Excuse me. But all that being said, I just don't remember too much, and I played the games. I played all of them. I didn't beat four. I was liking it, but it just felt a bit too over the top for me, and I just wasn't. I wasn't getting into it. But I played the rest, and I loved them. Absolutely would recommend this series. Maybe one day I'll replay it as well. This is maybe a little bit of a surprising game. Uh, and actually, I just thought about another funny honorable mention. I'm gonna mention chess. I fucking love chess. Chess would probably be my number one. It's not gonna be on here, okay? Just some people consider it to be a video game at this point because of the updates and shit. This is a phone. This is a mobile game, and it's called Plants vs Zombies. I fucking love Plants vs Zombies. I have played and beat that game 4 times. I know how to beat the fuck out of that game. I'm fucking expert level, bro. Get at me, okay? No, but fun as hell game. I absolutely love it. I think the gameplay is addictive, and the second one is good. Not as good as the first one at all. I think that it got marred by the grind that they basically put you through that game, which kind of sucks because you add so much more, but then you're also adding grind. It doesn't make the game very enjoyable, and it's a much more expansive game. I know some people even love it more than the first, but for me, it just doesn't even come close. I think the first was concise, tight, minimal story, where you can probably beat the game entirely, even with all the difficulties in a couple days. But I don't know. I just loved it. I love that game so much. This is this and like 2 spots above it are the best COVID games, and they came out around the same time. It's Animal Crossing New Horizons. I feel like every gamer during COVID was playing this game, and it really helped save a lot of people, I think. I think it really gave people the sense that they're still living outside in the world, but they were doing it through their characters. I know that that's how I felt while I was playing it with my girlfriend at the time. Yeah, it's just one of the best games of all time. It probably even deserves to be way higher, but I think it's still too early to say. And I know that people said that it was a lot more limited in its scope than the previous entries, which I never played the previous entries, but I love that fucking game. My God, did I love that fucking game. Fucking awesome game. Number 79 is going to be Skate 2. This and later on Tony Hawk is going to be mentioned, Pro Skater 2. It was a moment, man. You had to be there. Like, it was the DC era. It was fucking, man, like a little bit of the Rock era. It was a lot of fun. I love this game, man. The fucking campaign, the multiplayer with my friends, busting ass in that game. Oh man, I have such fond memories. I absolutely love this game. I played Skate 3 years later, and it was fun. It definitely wasn't. Maybe it didn't capture something that I was looking for in Skate 2 that wasn't present in Skate 3. I'm not really entirely sure what that was, but Skate 2 is one of the best skateboarding games of all time. Like, come at me. And as I was just mentioning before, a COVID game that was one of the best. Oh, actually, I don't know if it was Doom Eternal. No, it was Doom Eternal. So Doom Eternal, number 78. Uh, it's one of the most kick-ass games of all time. You're gonna feel like you're a fucking goat while playing that, especially when you get good at it. It's amazing. It's a perfect game. I don't even know what to say about it. It's perfect, truly perfect. The new Doom game that I've been playing, a lot of fun. I wouldn't say that it's even close to its level, but it's a lot of fun for sure. I'm gonna beat that. I know that's another game that's taken me a while. But yeah, play it. What the fuck are you doing? If you haven't played it, why haven't you played the Doom series? Like, come on. Play the fucking games. Okay. um, so this one recently also came out, and it's Spider-Man 2 on the PS5. Uh, I don't even know if I have much to say about this. Again, perfectly captures Spider-Man, the gameplay. Swinging feels amazing. The graphics phenomenal. The story is actually really, really great, and the ending fight was one of the most fun bosses I've ever played against. Pretty difficult. I was having some trouble, but I don't think I had too much trouble. And I just love the layout of the fight, man. It just felt like I was watching a movie while playing that game. And then, dude, when you play as Venom, oh man, when you're in that building fucking destroying everybody, that was one of the most fun moments I've ever had playing a video game ever. Absolutely would recommend Spider-Man 2. And this was the game that I mentioned earlier, Sly Cooper 2. I'm not gonna lie to you, don't remember too much of it. I do remember it more than Jack 2. Some of the components, it was so much fun. Um, I feel like it's the better of the first two. So I can't remember what this one's called. Something Thieves, whatever. I don't even know if I have much to say, but it's just one of the greatest games of that sort of genre. And I feel like it would be a disservice because its art style is also incredibly fantastic. And I don't know, the gameplay is so much fun. You can even play it afterwards and just keep doing things. I don't know, it's so much fun. Okay, we're at number 75. And it's actually interesting that a lot of these games are some of the newer ones. This one I recently played, and it really shocked me on how good it was. It's the new Alan Wake. So Alan Wake 2 came out, I think, just 2 years ago. And there wasn't even a physical release for this fucking game. But wow, it's amazing. It's amazing. The story, it blows the first one out of the fucking water, which was actually surprising to say. The gameplay is, again, like, I'm going to keep reiterating this for a lot of these games. It just perfected what the previous games were trying to do. Alan Wake 1 brought in this sort of flashlight component, which I know has been seen in other games before, but the gunplay always felt weird. It felt very weird in the first one, and the story is really good, but I felt like it was very, 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 very confusing. While the second one is also confusing, but I don't know why I was able to understand it more. Either way, it's such an incredibly creepy game. I fucking jumped like 20 times probably from the fucking jump scares. I feel like the jump scares here were really well utilized and done because I think they always reflected just like madness. And I think that utilizing it that way was probably the best way to do it, honestly. So, would absolutely recommend this game. One of the best horror games of all time. There's always also I'm looking through my list and like there's so many twos here. So like out of a trio or out of even a duo, it's always the second one for me that I feel like is better. I guess that's usually the case anyway. Number 74 is Infamous 2. Ah man, what do I even say about this game? Great story, great storyline, really great protagonist. Probably one of my favorite protagonists. I really feel for his character and the losses that he goes through, and trying to regain his memory and trying to figure out what he has to do in order to not be fucking completely destroyed by the company that's constantly chasing him. Um, yeah, it's just a great story. I'd recommend to play the first two, and the following games are pretty good for sure. I don't know, for me they're not as uh, concise as the first two, but the gameplay is so much more fun on the latter games. And this one is another personal favorite. It's Destroy All Humans 1 and 2. I'm gonna put both because I think both kind of just, it's not like 2 really like blew the first one out in terms of its gameplay or even its story. I think both are pretty similar in that way, but 2 does expand a lot on the gameplay for sure. But the story is fun. It's just a ton of fun. It's one of the most fun games I've ever played. You can literally play that game just destroying like cities and towns and kidnapping cows, and it's just, I feel like you could kind of do everything in that game that you would want to do as an alien. I think it perfectly captures that. And again, the art style is really great. The voice acting, phenomenal. You cannot tell me that there's a better duo than fucking uh, Klepton? Klep, I, I don't know. My memory's not that great. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Just I think it would be a disservice not to talk about their names. So I do think I said crypto. I'm not entirely sure. The other motherfucker's name is Orthopox. Like I was gonna really remember that shit or Pox. I don't remember fucking Pox's name. But either way, the voice acting for those two characters, I don't even know if I can think of a better duo than those two. It was fucking hilarious. It's a hilarious game as well. This one is an unknown game for a lot of people, for sure. Nobody knows this fucking game, but it's from a very popular franchise, and it's basically Transformers for the PS2. So this game, it basically was kind of like an open world game at times during certain missions where you would sort of explore as a Transformer, and I just remember as a kid absolutely loving it. I need to play the game again, but I'm telling you, I loved this game. I loved it. So this is a little bit more of an unorthodox um, sort of inclusion with Transformers 2. Completely different studio, but I just feel like it would be a disservice for me to not bring in War for Cybertron. So War for Cybertron is also a banger. This was a game that should not have been as good as it was. Um, and then it ended up getting sequels that were decent, but War for Cybertron was a banger. Banger. It just perfected again, again. A lot of these a lot of the gameplays from the previous Transformers games, it was perfected here, and the story was fantastic, and the graphics were amazing. So I would absolutely recommend these two games. This is maybe one of the more like weird inclusions, but I know that subjectively I loved Transformers 1 as a kid, and I need to play it again. I don't know if it was even 1 or 2. I just remember the cover had it was like a dark cover. Damn, I don't even remember what the fuck the cover was. It wasn't the movie one either, because I didn't care for that one. It was another one where you just kind of went on missions and you could explore and shit. Either way, number 71 is going to be Spider-Man Web of Shadows. I felt like this one's definitely way more different than Spider-Man 2 to include on this list, and yeah, it's just fantastic. Man, the ending to this game is so good, and the gameplay. I think it's memed now. The slow walk of him going through the city and everybody's fighting and shit. Um, yeah, Spider-Man. But man, this game was really fucking good. The gameplay, I think, was at the time perfected before Spider-Man 2 really perfected the fuck out of it. But it was perfected in terms of what a lot of the Spider-Man games tried to do before and what they tried to accomplish in the past. But it absolutely blew all of those out of the water because there was a lot of great Spider-Man games at that time. There was one, can't really remember what it's called, but it's basically like Spider-Man is on the cover and then Green Goblin's also on the cover. And you could play as both of them in that game. That was a really fun game. Um, there was a ton of Spider-Man games at that time that were so much fun. I'd recommend all of them. But I think the best one for me is Web of Shadows, like easily. So here's another Star Wars game, because I think I mentioned Star Wars before, right? Or maybe I haven't mentioned Star Wars. Yeah, you're going to be hearing a little bit of Star Wars here and there. This is number 70. It's Star Wars Force Unleashed. This game is awesome. I feel like it's a fantastic third person game, and I don't know, it just introduced a lot of things that would be later seen on in a lot of the Star Wars games and a lot of games that tried to sort of capture a similar feel and gameplay style. Um, it's a really great story, and I just think that, yeah, it kind of revived Star Wars in terms of video games, because at the time it was just dead, man. There was no Battlefront 3 that came out. There was nothing. There was literally nothing. The the Star Wars games that came out on the PlayStation, the one space, basically the movie games, those came and went. The Lego Star Wars games were done with. I think I included Lego Star Wars in here somewhere, by the way. Yeah, I think I did, because I fucking love that game. Yeah, I see it. Okay. A little bit further ahead. Number 69, and this is probably one of my personal favorite games of all time. Like, I just know that it is because it really meant a lot to me at the time. It basically introduced me into a whole different world that I didn't know I even liked, and that's NBA 2K12. So 2K12, I think, may not even be the perfect version of 2K at the time. Maybe 2K11 could be considered to be perfect. Maybe, I don't know. But what can I say about this game, man? It had everything. The My Career was so much fun. It didn't have, the storyline because it didn't fucking need it. It just had a really great gameplay. You could grind the fuck out of the game. You could, cheat and get a bunch of points to upgrade your character in different ways, and I love that. I love before they started to monetize that, it was doable in that way. You could just grind the fuck out of the game and just keep playing it that way. Um, oh man, the historic games, the classic teams, the the graphics as well were really great, and the gameplay was just perfect. Like, don't get me wrong, there was issues for sure. Like the difficulty settings were basically like if you played on Hall of Fame, the players could just always make every shot, and they could basically block your shot unless you played perfectly. I know Chris Smoove made that shit look real easy back then. He was also a big catalyst on why I kept playing 2K for a while. But yeah, it holds a dear place in my heart. I played until maybe 2K19, and then I just kind of got over it. Then I think I played 2K21, and just for a little bit, just because the Mamba cover came out, and Kobe's one of my favorite players of all time. So the 2K series definitely holds a dear place in my heart. I got into basketball at the time, and I got into a lot of sports because of 2K12. I didn't care for sports at the time, and I literally tried it out just because it just came out, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll like it, and I loved it, man. I was great at 2K. I used to whoop ass in 2K. My friends would come over, they would not want to play because I would beat them by 100 points. I used to beat one of my friends literally consecutively by 100 points. So I was pretty fucking good. Love that game. It would probably even be personally, like in a very personal list, like maybe a top 10 game. That's how much I love that game. This is another banger, and I feel like in terms of the modern games, it may be one of the best ones here. It's definitely not, like there's ones way higher than it, but it should be considered to be extremely high, and I'm looking forward to the new one that's about to come out, and it's Ghost of Tsushima. Oh man, this is the most beautiful game I've ever played, like looks wise. Fantastic story. The only part of the story that pissed me the fuck off was when the best friend character tries to sacrifice himself. I just found it to be so fucking stupid. I was like, he didn't need to do that. Like, I thought it was just dramatic for dramatic sakes. And I remember that really pissed me the fuck off at the time. I was so mad. I was super mad because I was like, he didn't need to die. Like, that was pointless. It felt so needless. Because I think I really liked the character. I thought he was a really well written character. Um, but yeah, fantastic story, fantastic gameplay. But still, I'm looking through this list, and it's easily it's probably the most beautiful looking game ever, graphics wise and setting wise, just fucking beautiful. This one's a banger. This is Far Cry 3. So Far Cry the series, I grew up playing the second one. I never played the first one. I touched it a little bit years later on, and it was fine. I didn't care too much about it. Far Cry 2 was a game that I played, and I had a lot of fun. I never beat it, but because it was a hard fucking game. I'm gonna tell you that right now. As a kid trying to play that shit, not knowing where the fuck to go, it was hard. You had to like fucking survive all the goddamn time, and you barely had ammo, and you had to like fucking grind that shit. It was annoying. This was the perfected version of that. This encompassed not only the essence of what Far Cry was at that time, because it changed so much later on. It captured the essence of that, and it captured the essence of what a lot of shooters were going for at the time. It didn't perfect it. I think maybe gameplay wise, the perfect Far Cry game gameplay wise is 4. I think 4 or maybe 5. Maybe 5. Yeah, 5 would probably be the best one gameplay wise, because I don't even like that game too much story wise. But man, Far Cry 3 is fucking amazing. The story is so good. It's so good. It's so good. Like, it's one of the best stories I've ever played. And the fucking antagonist, dude, iconic. He should have definitely been like the final guy, but I kind of get why they didn't go in that route. I think that his story finished off extremely well. But man, dude, this game is also beautiful looking. The island that you're on is so gorgeous. This is a game I want to play again one day. I love Far Cry 3. Love it. This was a game that was pretty huge at the time, and number 66 is Undertale. I don't even know if I could say too much about this game. The story is fantastic, just fantastic. The gameplay is great. Um, but yeah, it's just this world, man. It's one of those worlds that you just want to be pulled in and you don't want to get out of. It was, and like the multiple endings and the way that you had to grind to get the perfect ending. I think it's just one of those games that needs to be experienced by every gamer. You need to play that game. This one is another personal banger of mine. Number 65 goes to Red Faction Guerrilla. So Red Faction Guerrilla was part of a series of games that came out back then, and it came out on the 360. And I don't know what it was about this game, but story-wise, really great story. Um, but I have to say it's the gameplay. It's the destruction. It was so much fun. Dude, I used to play that game for hours, just destroying buildings, doing all the side objectives. Yeah, I don't even know if I could say much more, but I would absolutely recommend this game. I feel pretty strongly on its placement because I know it's not influential, but I know for me personally, I love this game so much. And this is another personal banger, Mario Strikers for, I'm gonna say the Wii. I know people would say that the GameCube one is better, but I just played the Wii one a lot more, and I loved it. Man, did I love this game. It shouldn't be as good as it was at all. Like, it was just another Mario entry game, and it just was amazing. The tackling is hilarious. Like, if you've never played the game and you tackle the fuck out of somebody, especially with that mole rat motherfucker, he hits the living fuck out of anyone. And dude, when you turn off like getting power-ups when you get hit, the game is pretty hilarious. You know, you basically you just played against somebody whoever the fuck gets hit first is basically gonna win. And I used to love playing it that way. I felt like it was way better that way than it was with the power-ups because the power-ups it made it too chaotic and I don't know, it just I didn't care for it that much. Maybe it was also because of how I liked to play, but I would say if you play that game, play it that way. I think you might enjoy it the most that way. And I love that game. But the GameCube one also, it just didn't have as many features, so I didn't really play that one as much. And the graphics weren't, obviously they weren't as updated. The Switch one, it was okay. Pretty disappointed with that one, honestly. I think it should have been way better. I don't understand how they made that game mid. I don't understand how you make that game boring. I don't know how that even happens. Oh, this one's a big one. This one I think a lot of people would consider. Oh man, I'm looking at the time, dude. This is gonna be like a 2 hour fucking video. Fuck man, because I know I have so much to say for some of these videos, for some of these games. I'm not even halfway through. Okay, let's just power through. So, oh god, number 63 is Perfect Dark for the. Is it the 64? Yeah, the 64. I don't even know. Again, this is a game that I think the game kind of speaks for itself. It's a fantastic game. The gameplay is so much fun. The objectives. It's also difficult. It's a pretty decently difficult game, and it's extremely iconic. The music is fantastic. It's short but sweet, and man, the fucking cover of this game is awesome. That is also iconic. This should probably be a top 10 game. I just think that I didn't play it enough to be like, oh yeah, this is like my favorite game of all time. Because I didn't try to like perfect the game. I just literally played through it as a kid, and I used to play the multiplayer component with some of my friends when they would come over. But outside of that, I never really touched it again. So I think it definitely deserves to be on here, but I just, I don't really know where really to place it. Number 62 is Mercenaries. This is another game that I don't think too many people know about now. There were subsequent games made afterwards, and I'm trying to remember if I think one or two is better. I'm not entirely sure. I just remember the one with Japan being one of the enemies was one of my favorites. It was, and it's probably one of my favorite games of all time. I played that game so much. I used to just drive around trying to, you know, just take over. And dude, it's a great game. It's a very unique game too. I don't think I've ever seen a game like this afterwards. Um, I would highly recommend it. It's so much fun. One and two, play both. Number 61 is going to go to Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I think this is one of the best fighting games of all time. Easily, easily. Uh, yeah, it's just a ton of fun. I don't even know. I don't have to say more than that. Number 60. This is another one that I think would be in my top 10 subjectively. I just had to put it this low. I mean, it's not even low. It's pretty high for a game that's an indie developed game. It's Castle Crashers. This is one of the most fun games I've ever played in my entire life. Especially co-op. Oh man, I used to play this with my friends when they would come over. We would grind the fuck out of these characters, get them all the way leveled up. The design of this game is so beautiful. The end boss is so much fun. The DLC was fantastic. It's a perfect game. I honestly have no issues with this game whatsoever. Number 59 is going to go to Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. Again, this was a moment in time very similar to Skate 2, where there was a grunge scene going on. Rock was pretty huge, but in a different way with like Nirvana and some of the other groups sort of like, still holding some prominence in that time. But it's just really interesting that Skate 2 kind of captured that same essence later on. But yeah, I think the game sort of speaks for itself. I don't really need to say much more than that. Number 58 is going to go to God of War Ragnarok. This game is amazing. This game is amazing. It's genuinely one of the best games that have come out in the past 5 years. Like, easily. I don't even know if there's one that's better than this one. I have a game that came out in the past 5 years higher than this one and a couple of other ones, but it's for sure a top three. No doubt about that in my mind. Beautiful looking game, fantastic gameplay, amazing story. I think it's an amazing continuation. For me to feel something for these characters now is just like, I don't even know how you do that. I really don't know how you do that. I'm so excited for where this series continues to go. Number 57 is Metroid Dread. This game is fucking awesome. One of the best Switch titles, and just fucking kick ass, man. Just absolutely kick ass. I would absolutely recommend this game. If you have a Switch, play it. It's a necessary game to play. And man, is it fucking difficult as it goes on. I remember that last boss was one of the most cathartic feelings I ever got when I beat that motherfucker. But it was fucking difficult. So be prepared for a very difficult game. This is another one that I don't think many people will know of in this generation, and it's X-Men Legends Apocalypse. It's basically kind of like Ultimate Marvel Alliance if you've ever played that game, and also like the Diablo series. Actually, I forgot that Diablo kind of shares some similarities with these games. Yeah, it's phenomenal. I remember loving the fuck out of that game. I actually have it sealed somewhere, like a sealed copy of it, because I absolutely love that game. And it's just a fantastic game. I really wish to play it again, actually, just so I can get more of it in my mind, because I don't remember too much of it, but I remember loving the fuck out of that game. Oh man, wait, did I not mention this game already? No, I didn't. So this is one that no one's gonna fucking know. Number 55 is gonna go to Freedom Fighters. This is a game that came out for the GameCube, if I'm not mistaken, and the Xbox. Oh, dude, it was just so much fun. The gameplay is basically you're just trying to take back over as a freedom fighter from being, I think it's like the Russians or something. I can't really remember the story itself. I just remember the gameplay where you're basically hiring a bunch of freedom fighters, fighting on the streets, fucking shooting these motherfuckers down. I remember the story was phenomenal, and I loved it so much. This was a game that personally for me meant a lot to me as a kid. Number 54 is going to go to Tekken 7. This is a game that I played through once and absolutely loved it. I played the online for a bit. Fucking awesome. I think it's a perfect fighting game. And I think that that's illustrated through the multiple instances in which it was consistently at EVO. And it's probably the reason why it's even this high is because for me, I think I've seen some of the greatest competitions in video game history through Tekken 7. Yeah, it's phenomenal. I would recommend to watch those EVO Championship games and even just to play this game because it's timeless. It reminds me of when I used to play Tekken at the laundromat in the fucking the, I forgot what those are called, but yeah, just one of those motherfuckers. I'm like starving and I didn't sleep that well, so excuse me if I'm confused here and there. But yeah, it reminded me of capturing that essence as a kid. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say. It's the perfect Tekken game. Tekken 8 is also fantastic. I haven't played it as much and I haven't watched the Evos as much. I definitely have to do that. I have to give myself that. This is a game that meant probably the world to me when it came out, and it's Guitar Hero 3. I'd always wanted to learn an instrument as a kid, and I tried, and I wasn't really good. I wasn't really giving myself enough effort and time. But when Guitar Hero 3 came, and I got a Christmas Day, and I got the fucking white guitar, which I still have with me because I'm never getting rid of that thing, I love this game. I was able to play an expert. I wasn't able to beat the game on expert, but I was able to play it on expert, and I loved it so much. I think it really gave me an insight into rock music that I didn't have at that time, especially for the older rock, because a lot of the older rock songs were on there. It was just an ingenious idea. I don't know if anything like that will ever happen again, but obviously the influence spoke for itself as time went on, and yeah, it's just one of those games, man. It's one of those games. It might not hold up as well now, but also I don't believe that that's the case. I think it's a timeless game. You could pick it up at any point and just love the gameplay and love the music. Would highly recommend that if you haven't played it before. With the guitar, please don't ever play with the controller. Ridiculous. Number 52 is going to go to Lego Star Wars. The best Lego game. I think I'd even say that Lego Batman probably deserves to be on this list, but since I had Lego Star Wars, I was like, I'm going to just stick with Lego Star Wars. It's the best Star Wars game, honestly. I don't know if I have another Star Wars game higher than this one. Oh, I do. I do have one, and it's pretty obvious which one that would be. But aside from that other one, it's a perfect Star Wars game. It has all the Star Wars lore all into one package. The gameplay is so much fun. It's a great co-op game, great multiplayer game, funny game. I don't even know what else to say. It's fantastic. Number 51 is going to go to Marvel Ultimate Alliance. A lot like with what I was saying with X-Men Legends, just the gameplay is awesome. And I think I love the story a bit more with this one, and it's much more memorable. I also beat the fuck out of this game. Like, I beat it like 3 or 4 times, getting all the characters. Love the DLC. Love the DLC box with the Hulk DLC included, and Magneto. I think Magneto was another one. But the story is awesome. I think the story is pretty awesome. Would highly recommend that game. That's another one that would be in my like top 15 most played and favorite games of all time. Number 50, I think this is a necessary game to have here, but I even have a lot of feelings towards this game, and it's Overwatch. So Overwatch, I feel like everybody that's gonna talk about Overwatch as the years go on, it's gonna be that fucking meme of the Vince McMahon going like that. It's because like, man, when that game first came out, it was perfection. Like, yeah, were there issues with it? Sure, but it was like, bro, if you were playing Overwatch when it first came out, man, oh, you experienced something special when it came to video gaming. Like the multiplayer was awesome. The gameplay was perfect. Nobody was too much of a fucking tryhard that you were getting completely dominated. I think I got up to master, like 3500 level. Yeah, I did. The ranking system changed so much as the years went on, so I don't know what that level would be. I think it was basically like you were borderline at the 99th percentile. So I played the fuck out of this game, and I was a Winston main, and I was obliterating motherfuckers. Let me tell you, I used to main Winston, Tracer, and I think as a healer I used to love Moira. Yeah, my Moira was fucking annoying. I'll tell you that because I did not heal for shit. Yeah, it was perfect. Out of any game here, there's only one other game that I'd say there's two other games that I'd say the multiplayer was better than this one, but this was perfect. This was perfection in terms of the multiplayer. Obviously the controversies and everything afterwards fucking suck, and this game's basically lost time, um, which is really sad. I think for what it initially captured, it was beautiful. Overwatch 2 was good. It was good. It didn't take away too much. It just was nowhere near the level of effort and time, and a huge colossal disappointment for sure. Still one that I hold dear to my heart of how fucking disappointing the second one was, as you can see in my face. But the first one was perfection. It would even be higher if there was no fucking problems, bro. Like the ones that ended up coming out, it would be way higher. But I think you have to account for Overwatch 2 being so fucking shit that this game, I think even for most people they wouldn't put it in their top 100. But I think I'm maybe part of a particular percentage of people that played it so much that it's a part of me. Man, did I used to get fucking mad while playing that game. I had to stop playing it because of how much people would piss me the fuck off, dude. Because that game demands excellency. It's one of those few games. Most multiplayer games do demand that, but that one demanded it. You needed to communicate. You needed to do your job. When you didn't do your job, people would fucking feel it. And one person could drag a whole team down. And trust me, with some of the friends that I used to play the fucking games with, oh my fucking god, they used to piss me the fuck off. So I had to stop playing the game. I just couldn't do it anymore. Okay, now we're past the halfway point. Fuck. And it's an hour and a half into this video. Okay. Oh man. Do I like split it up? I feel like I gotta eat or something before I can like actually go into this because I can feel myself getting tired. So I'm going to, I don't know, should this be like a part two? I don't know. I feel like nobody will ever wants to watch a 3 hour video. I mean, I don't really personally care. I just want like as many people to be able to watch it, but I don't care for the views or anything. I'm literally just doing this for myself. I love just going through these video games and being able to put it somewhere where I can look back maybe 50 years from now and be like, oh yes, I remember when I used to play it. I remember it." And, you know, I want to have that sort of moment for myself later on. I think I'm gonna be smart and end the video. So this is part, well, no, this, I guess this would be part one, not part two. So this is part one. I'm gonna record literally in 30 minutes. I just need a fucking break. So yeah, I think ending it at Overwatch is perfect. Yeah, the perfect ending point. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna record very soon, so see you guys soon. Thank you. Take care.